really happy and thrilled to be here to talk about gamification strategies for platform adoption. I am Ganesh. I am co-founder of Codops and Counter Technologies. We are primarily into software development and consulting. And the talk I will be touching upon some of the very interesting aspects we discovered on the way during our entrepreneur's journey. So, all of you, how many of you interested in entrepreneurship? Start your own.
Everyone.
Do you think this is true? Build it and they will come. No. I am a techie and I struggled so much thinking that, okay, if you build something, people will come. People don't come. As simple as that. So most of your energy is actually spent in trying to get people use your product than actually building your product. Agrees? Agreed?
Yes.
So what could be the ways in which you can get traction to your platform, to something that you build, right? Sorry?
People engagement.
People engagement, excellent. So here is one for you. Thank you. So, if you had struggled with problems like, how do I get more people use my platform or product? How can I build in some virality to my product? So, the platform should attract people on its own. It's like honey, right? It should attract more people, more bees to the comb. And how can I get people come again and again? That's another big problem. They try it once and they don't come back. Right? Have you faced these problems before? Yes. So you have a big friend here. So what is it we are going to talk about? A very, very effective solution is gamification. So what is gamification? How many of you know Super Mario? All of you. Okay, now what are the key things in Super Mario? Key concept, keywords. Infectious? Points, rewards, levels, achievements, leaderboard,
Not dying.
not doing. Excellent. Yeah. Yes. Now, think for a moment, any product you would like to build. It could be a chatting application. Simple examples, right? It could be a social media platform that you want to build. Anything. How can you bring in Super Mario elements into your platform? Now, that is tough. Agreed? And it is doable. So what I am going to do is, I am going to take you 3 case studies. It is not that we discovered, on one day read a book about gamification and start building gamification. It never works that way, okay? We sometimes do things without even realizing that, okay, this is what gamification is, and we find out keywords. Oh, okay, this is called gamification. Okay, nice. That's how we discovered gamification. So, how many of you use Google Pay? Okay, now think for a moment, why you install Google Pay? Rewards, cash. Even if you didn't have Google Pay in your mobile, somebody will say, hey, I got 6 rupees cash back. Did you get? The moment you install Google Pay, right? Agree?
Yes.
Now, the question is, did Google Pay give cash reward again?
No.
Now, another important question. Did you uninstall Google Pay from your mobile?
No.
Yeah, that is key. Now, this is what I am talking about. What is gamification? Get adoption. Right? Show us some benefits. Doesn't mean you have to give the benefits all the time. If you do that, you will run out of cash for sure. Even Google will run out of cash, as Google Pay shows, right? But doesn't mean you have to withdraw gamification completely. You can keep giving something, right? So that is one effective way to get user adoption. Now, okay, all these concepts are good. Show me how it works, right? So, I'll tell you a story. right? So in the opposite to this road, right, there is this Park Plaza. Now it's called Radisson Blue. So we used to run, conferences there. Some of you may have come to the conference. So in some of the early stages, right, when I'm starting on my own, the first conference, AI Dev Day, was a super success. I think maybe Anand could remember those days, right?
I was a co-host here.
Yeah, awesome. It was one nice conference, right? The second conference we hosted was the Serverless Summit. There's something called first time luck. Okay? First time when you do something, it goes really well. Second time you do it, it doesn't work. So, in the Serverless Summit, by showing the first success, we got a lot of sponsors. And we had a very good plan. We had booked the hotel and everything, but tickets, nobody's buying it. There's no difference. It's different conference. Instead of AI, it is serverless. Serverless was buzzing, by the way, at that time. But people are not buying. So what do we do? Right? In few weeks, we have the conference. You try hard, find out. You message your friends saying, hey, please buy. Right? But people don't. So that is one of the key times when we realized your product. Think about it. Conference as a product. How do we get traction with your product? So, I'm from technical background, so this business concepts, all this are very new to me. So, what we tried was very simple. We looked at what others are doing. We were using platforms like Explara, Townsend, etc. for hosting tickets, and we saw how people are doing. They pay to those platforms to blast in their database or showcase in their landing page. Excellent. We asked how much. They said 20,000 rupees. We will send you an email back. We will showcase your conference, your landing page. Yeah, okay, maybe great. And we did that. 20k. 20k means 20,000 rupees, not USD. Okay. We gave that money and we got 3 tickets. We are really frustrated. Okay. There should be a better way to do it, right? That is when we discovered gamification. Not in that conference. We somehow sailed through. And we got really beaten up, and we realized, no, this won't work. We need to have some better way to do things, right? Now think about the similar scenario that you have. When you try to do something with so much motivation and you fail, right? That is when you really start thinking, how can I make it successful, right? And that is what we did, driving audience for conferences. Now, it is very interesting, this is very surprising thing I am telling you. The solution I am going to show, right, you almost laugh. You see Google Pay giving 1 rupee as reward. It's almost laugh. And that's exactly what we did. And it worked, by the way. So think about it. The simple flip what we made was 20,000 is what we spent. Instead of giving to the ticketing platform, give it to the participants. Make it as a contest. Whoever gives the maximum number of referrals, they win the song. Right? Do you think this will work? Yeah, maybe. Right? It will work. Beautifully well. So think about sales boards. Right? You put a sale board. I'm telling you, this is the most horrible way to sell things. You have a shop, they kept a shop open, and what do? Put a board saying sale. Come on, yeah. It's a very old way of selling. Right? So cold calling, cold email blast. I'm telling you, nothing worked for us. So what we did was, there's a key, on how we gamify things. This discovery process is very important. If I say, use Super Mario concept in your product, that's not the discovery point. Now that pain point, you need to identify and address that. That is the key, right? So what we did was, when you register, you get a ticket. You registered for a meetup, you got a confirmation. And a reminder email before the event. Now, add only one more thing, get the referral contest information also. And something, there are some people who are desperate for money. Right? They take it very seriously. And they do amazing work. So, if you think this is as extinct as dinosaur, I am seriously telling you, please reconsider this. This is the key for gamification. Okay. This is an example. This is a recent conference that we hosted. Hosted on our platform Confer, and people don't all believe it. So I usually open and show. Guys, please believe this works. So we got 5,000 referrals. 5,000 referrals for this conference, and the same company, they engage an agency, and we have done the agency work because it's so desperate for income to sustain our company, and we typically charge 250 rupees to 300 rupees for getting a conversion. Now, what is the outgoing cost? All are good in elementary math. Can you please sum it up? Yes? Right? Now come back here. Look at number of referrals. Now come back here and see the calculation, business reasons for the same. We are talking about 15 lakhs versus 15,000. This can dramatically change your business. So we are actually a little bit worried, to be very honest. There's always something called first time work. Nobody taught us. We know from our experience, right? Will it work for all the contests? We found that even for a quizzing competition it works. We have done that actually. I'll show you some numbers for the same thing. So it really works. This gamification is an idea, right? It is very simple. But there are aspects you have to consider. It's very difficult to implement it in an automated way and deal with the challenges that comes on the way. Okay? So first one is why it works is super fans. The concept of super fans. Some people who go crazy with the idea. See, when you want a product adoption, you don't want all the people to get converted. People who are super crazy about your idea or a solution, they can drive adoption. And it is often very difficult to even connect to them directly and even know them directly. I don't know who is Santosh, really. Right? I'm very happy for him, by the way. Very happy for him, very thankful for him. So you don't have to know the super fans, but you can actually, so, they like the, the product, or they like the offer that you have, or the event that you have, and they are happy to promote, for whatever reason, right? It could be for winning as well. It's a very fact thing, you would say. If they win some 8,000 rupees for 580 referrals, I am ready. Yes, I am ready. 100% ready. You are ready? Right? So that is the key for gamification. Second thing is the Mario. One more point, I will go to the next level. Right? That is gamification, right? So let's say you are Mohammed, and you see you are in the leaderboard. If I get one more referral, I will become
Number
6. Actually, the timing also matters. Like who refers, right? Okay, 2 more. Make it 2 more. I will go one step up. But when you try to do that, do you get exactly 2? You may end up getting 5. What happens? The leaderboard gets more referrals. Making sense? This is what I mean by gamification. Becoming engaged. You often forget why are you offering also. I want to top the leaderboard. Right? That is what you end up doing it actually. That's why it works. So that is why I have summarized as competing and winning. Is fun. So even if you don't need money, you may end up doing this. So summarizing is, you get hooked up or engaged in doing something, and competing and winning as the key concepts, right? The challenge was to automate it.
Publicity also. One of those on the top is famous.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So, and that's the best way to get the reach is to let the people talk about it, right? You incentivize them in a way to talk about it.
Zomato knows very well.
Sorry?
Zomato knows very well. They put the memes on the Insta and Twitter and everywhere.
Okay.
Everyone talks about it.
Nice. I think how you can connect to many things, right? And you can also connect to platforms which don't do gamification. They are also successful, but they're pumping a lot of money. That's a very hard way to do it. Alright, so what we did was we automated it in the most of the simplest way possible. So in 3 steps, you can go live with gamification. Lot of challenges. You know, the one of the biggest problem with this approach, fake reference. Right? So to build an ability to identify what's a fake reference. And like for example, that's the reason why we have implemented zero bounds for email verification, OTP verification, LinkedIn also we verify. To make sure, this is an automated way, not in manual way. So this is a very starting point, right? When we started gamification idea, I will show you, where we reached, to where we got in gamification. So the key summary is gamification wasn't an obvious solution to the problem because nobody is trying it, right? See, referral program is different from a referral contest. Referral program means, who loves Tupperware? We hate people. Yes? Honest? But this is not like that. It's more fun. Because you have a concept of a leaderboard, winning, all of this, right? So it works for large events, for small events it won't work. Because you need a reasonable base for this to work. So, and also it is difficult to insert referral as a feature in your product. These are some of the difficulties that you have. Now let me go to the next one, which is gamified learning. So what we did was, one of the challenges we had in the conferences is high dropout rates and the lack of engagement. And organizing is, especially in the last 2 years, the COVID times. How many of you attended a day full of conference in online? Okay. Even if somebody pays you, you won't attend. Right? A movie is different, but conference from the morning. Okay, think about a meetup, in-person meetup, from morning to evening. It's fun to attend, right? And you meet people, have interaction and learn and things like that. It's a different story in online, right? So we had facing this problem of high dropout rates, how to engage someone, have some fun, etc. And the idea came from this common capability. So what if we have, quizzing in the large scale? If KBC is so, gluing to us, if somebody else is winning, how exciting it will be if you are also winning and participating, right? So that is what we try to do. And so we created this platform, Meetup. Unfortunately, we're not using it today, but hopefully from next Meetup onwards, we can also use here. It has classic elements like quiz room, time questions, etc. And today, the last session is about Meetup. More about architecting part of it, so I will skip fast and go to the next one.
Is it similar to Quizup? Quizup is also there. Quizup. There is one more app called Quizup app.
Ah, okay. Yeah, maybe that's an accidental.
Different technologies, like if I'm interested in sports or if I'm just like a gamification.
Okay.
There's an app called Quizup app.
Uh-huh.
To play a game, we can play it or something like that. Just like social engagement, kind of.
Okay. Interesting. I will check it out.
Yeah, it's a famous app actually. Quizup is also famous. They do also the same.
Okay. Yeah, but as I mentioned, we are from tech background, we don't do this competitive analysis, no nothing, just submit to implementation. We have to do this. As we go forward, and by the way, that works in many ways. Because if you keep thinking, oh, there's a competitor here, oh, there's somebody using that, then forget about all this. What is your USP? Focus on that and get things done. It works, by the way. And now if you don't know what is the USPs, okay, compare it now. I will go back and compare. Okay, now I can question, okay, this is that in many ways. And as you can see, this works. So the challenges from architecting perspective are, game days. There could be huge traffic, thousands of people joining at the same time. So factors like scalability, building scalability, testing. How do you test? Thousands of real-time users is a very big challenge. And gamification with prizes always attract hammers. Every single quiz, we have somebody monitoring and looking at the API calls and seeing if everything is working fine. So security is very key in implementing gamification. And gamification really works. Think about it's about how you share knowledge, right? Let's say there's an online meetup or webinar, 5:30 on, let's say, tomorrow. It's a Sunday, 5:30. There's a webinar on NFRs. How many of you are excited to attend? No? Not me. Whereas, if there's a quiz, there's some prizes. You can open your app and you can just play. You can end up learning about NFRs. It's still fun. And people come on Sundays also, we have seen. Right? So it works. So the knowledge finally gets transferred and it also works. Okay. Now we go to the last one. It's about, you can call it as, gamification on steroids. Right? Seeing that this approach really works.
In the previous slide you put hackers. How can you manage the hackers? You're not quite
We cannot manage hackers, throw them away. So find out, expel them, knock them out.
like how can, they are also coming with the real ID to log into your system or do that reference. Then how can you?
Yeah, the question is how to identify hackers, right? So the hackers often have signatures. I'm not an expert in security, but the way they interact. For example, one of the way that we have identified is somebody holds a socket for till the end of the quiz, and all of a sudden they submit the questions, answers, right? So that's the pattern that you could see, and so you can identify that person as a hacker. And using tools like bug tool and other tools, so their the interaction pattern is different, so you can identify them as hackers. Sometimes even the email ID is very obvious, and the profile information. So, alright. So I'll go to the next one. This is, as I mentioned, gamification on steroids. And to be very fair, all the gamification concepts, mainly came from our stakeholder, who is a non-tech person. Did amazing work in coming up with these things. How many of you heard about reskill? Okay, so yeah, maybe we can give it a try. And I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to give something. Okay, this is a platform, not cost actually. It gives money to you. So there are lots of challenges in learning paths. So think about a learning platform. Typically, what happens in learning platform? You have to pay for getting knowledge. For example, paying for certification. Then you have to pay for getting the trade, right? Here, everything happens through community approach. So the contribution is from the community. I'll show you how that is gamified as well, and the participation also in a learning fun way. So you, like Super Mario, think about it. You take up a challenge and you pass, then you go to the next challenge. You attend quiz questions and you get points and you get rewards, and you can redeem them as credits and cash. So this really works. It's like a credit card, right? You accumulate points. So you get hooked onto the platform, come back again and again, not just for learning, also to, have this experience of, participating. And badges, if you are a newbie, give a small dose of, happiness, and give a newbie badge. If somebody submits a blog, give them a blogger badge, stuff like that. And the design system for how the reward points work. And this is for consumption, it's always easy. It's like YouTube. People can keep consuming content, but how do you incentivize contributors? Right? Create a game again. Right? Make it as a leaderboard. You top the leaderboard, we get more points, we get more rewards. Right? So that's how it works. And who said referrals don't work? Believe me, this is crazy. The actual numbers, you can see here. 30,000 people onboarded on the platform completely through referrals. Why? You can get 25 points if you refer someone. And if you get 1,000 points, I can redeem a t-shirt. Yes, t-shirt is more important for me. How many of you love t-shirts? You have the answer? Now, you do have Google Ads and get 100 people onboarded. What is the cost? What's the cost of a t-shirt? No answer. Right? So this is how the gamification idea as such works. Right? The biggest challenge, as I mentioned, is game days, or people go crazy. We're talking about 80k users accessing at the same time at some point. Imagine the challenges that comes up in dealing with these challenges, right? What is the best solution for such scenarios? Keep it very simple, right? I mean, automate things. Keep it simple. No, don't do too much complexity in implementation, right? Use scalable solutions like serverless approach. So in that case, we'll be able to handle such spiky workloads. So again, when the rewards are there, it attracts wrong kind of people. So fake IDs, trying to spoof, or there are people even try doing denial of service attacks, malicious users, all of that. So fortunately, because perhaps we are from that architecting or security, and I'm not a security expert by the way, but we have people in team who takes care of that. Nothing untoward has happened so far, right? It's also because we have automated a lot of things. We have automated surveillance, for example, in place to make sure that everything is tracked. So how can you build your experience? Is please don't underestimate the power of old style methods or so-called old style methods like reference. It really works, right? And platforms can grow extremely fast using these approaches, right? So you cannot plan or expect everything when you are starting to build a platform. So but I'm not saying that while the train is going, you have to put the track, right? But at least have some planning in place, some reward structure in place, etc. But as it goes, right, you can tune that, and you can tune the platform to make it withstand these aspects and become successful. So simplicity in design and implementation will go a long way in evolving the platform. It's very easy to overcomplicate things, right? So, but think about the user perspective. If somebody, when you come to your platform, what is the mind map that they have about your platform? You cannot say do gamification, right? So you have to somehow communicate that okay, this is a reward-based system. These are the rewards. These are the learning challenges. This is the learning path, right? This is how we can prepare and you can get certified. At the same time, when it comes to the architecting and the implementation, it should be as simple as possible. More simpler than that. So we have very simple things like, for example, RDS or the database. Simple lambda functions and step functions. Nothing complicated for even such large platforms. So yeah, with that I just show some actual screenshots or the examples. So this is the skill platform. You can see how the rewards are, and one of the key concepts that we have come with. Okay, when you come first, you see challenges and learning paths. For example, let's say you want to prepare for solutions architect exam, then there's a learning path. You can see the challenges in that learning path, and once you see those challenges, then you can take those challenges. I think it's the problem with the resolution. Okay, so now you can go step by step, and you can prepare for those for the certification, for example. And each of this has points and and the badges that is associated with it. So you go through the learning video and then you take the quiz. And so as I mentioned, this is gamified. So quizzes are one of the key things to gamify things, right? To make them engage. So once you take up these challenges, you get points, and you can. So this is another one. Another thing is, how do you keep people coming back again and again, right? So one is actually monthly leaderboard. So when you say monthly, it is time bound. So giving reward once is different from giving rewards in a time bound basis, right? Think about Google Pay. They are not giving a time bound awards, and we found that if you give time bound awards, people come back again and again. For example, this is in currently in August. It's August, right? August, right? But if you see July, for example, you can see who are the winners. And people are, people actually, spend a lot of time and effort to top the leaderboard. Right? To think getting 1,450 points every month, not an easy task. Right? It takes a lot of energy and effort to be able to, come back, not just to earn points, but also to learn, right? Which is the purpose of this platform, right? So this is another important concept, that making it time based, right? Instead of once in a while. So this is the gamification for the submission part of it. Like if I want this very recent one, it introduced last month. So because the consumption was successful, this was introduced very recently. So if you submit a learning challenge, what is your motivation for that? You have to prepare a video, you have to prepare quiz questions and submit that. Lot of effort, you are experts, right? So that should be a way to reward them, right? So this is one way to reward. Have a leaderboard, and you can reward them whoever tops well and have some good contributions. And more than 2,000 blogs. 2,000 blogs! Right? Think about asking one of you to write one blog. How much effort is required? How much energy is required? Not an easy task, right? People do that. And so you can get that, these are the rewards, the badges system, and this is the tracking, the activity tracking, and what are the prizes that you can redeem, and the conditions. So yeah, with that I think I'm a little bit ahead of time. Is it okay? Take questions and have some interactive discussions. Yeah. Any questions? Think about your scenario, your product that you want to create, right? You want to get traction. It can be gamification for any kind. As I mentioned, the product need not be a physical product that you see, right? It could be running a conference as a product. Think about that, right? So think about things that you want to do. How will you gamify it? Yeah.
Let's suppose quiz have been a product. Okay. To run that quiz have we have some cost. First we have to maintain the multiple participant. That is a huge cost for the server. That's live one. How do we manage those costs? How the developers, the quiz accountants, they manage those costs? I mean, how they are done.
The cost part of it, right? Yeah. Okay. So his question is very interesting. How do you manage the costs? Right? Let's say you are building your own product. How will you, manage the cost, right? Okay. Let's see. For example, this is the quizzing tournament. We have this, such tournaments running now. So the way we have solved it is get the clients who will pay for that. Is it a fair answer? You don't have to pay for it. The clients will pay for you, right?
For the client, it is subscription based or loyalty based?
Sorry.
Yeah. For the client, is it a subscription based or loyalty based? Let's suppose the client has organized a quiz and they want to show how they pay to the platform. Buy the subscription, so the loyalty of some percentage to the platform.
No. His question is, how the clients will pay for Preserve, right? So, see, we have built a service around this platform. So, if we want to run this, they have to pay some amount, right? And we will take care of everything, like running the quiz and giving the prizes and everything. But if they want to then run it then on their own, they are welcome to do that. Okay, I'll take a step back and think about it. Okay, I'll give you some examples, specific concrete examples. Think about an example like the conference that we want to run. Who paid for us? No client paid for us, right? But the result of the gamification, let us say you get 1,000 is too much for paid registrations, 100 paid registrations, right? With e-ticket is 3,000 rupees, right? 3,000 into 100 is 3 lakhs, right? And what's the expense? Maybe 20,000? So it pays for itself. So that is the business way of calculating. So okay, one of the questions you might have is, why are we having this gamification talk in a software architecture meetup? Right? The answer is, Architecting is not that you are isolated into a tech world. Architecting is for solving a business problem. And what is the business problem you are solving here? Is to get traction for your product. Building the product alone is not a responsibility of an architect, right? To help get the traction. It's also a responsibility of an architect. You cannot say that, okay, I built the product, it failed, it's not my problem. Come on, it doesn't work that way.
Isn't it hard to, when you get that users,
Yeah.
maybe initially it is low, but then gamification becomes successful, you're going to get loads of users. That thing like you said, NFR.
Yes, yes, yeah. It plays a very important role. So that's what this is our experience. These game days are very critical. Like on a sudden, you will get a lot of traffic.
But how do you predict what traffic?
You cannot predict. You cannot predict. As a matter of fact, the only thing you can do is you can think of ways to support the people.
Do you want that sort of thing? Maybe in some cases, your platform is not yet ready to handle that.
Yes. Yeah.
So is gamification a solution everywhere? Or?
Okay, this question is, the platform you have built may not handle that load, right? That's a better problem to have. There are two scenarios. One is you have a very beautiful product, nobody is using it. There's another product, same product, there are too many users are trying to use it. I would certainly prefer this problem. Deal with it. So, sorry, there's no concrete answer for that, but it's a beautiful problem to have.
Good problems to have.
Good problems to have. Yeah.
How do you make it continuous? Because you need to maintain the quality of the supply and the buy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
What measures, maybe when you would have started, you wouldn't been in that same state, but once you have reached a thing, like, you have also taken some enhancement measures and stuff. Like, you have some examples.
So, okay, his question is, how do you maintain the quality and sustain it, right? So, you have to consider operations all the time, right? Limit the number of, redemptions, for example, right? So, for example, if you see the reskill redemption rate, it's called one-time redemption. You know why? Once you get 2,000 points, you can redeem only for 1,000 points. The next time you want to redeem, you have to get 4,000 points to redeem the 2,000 points. So you automatically limit it by design. So we didn't have the solution in the beginning, okay? We figured it out on the way. That's how it happens most of the time. You have to figure it out on the way. I mean, most of these architectural problems will not have a fixed problem. I mean, fixed, unknown at the earliest when you start.
How much time does it take to reach here? Like, I feel you might have faced a lot of problem, but maybe you are in a stable position.
Yes.
How much time does it take to reach here?
Okay, her question is how much time it takes to reach a stable position, right? I would say it's like in a ocean. So,
Yeah, different ways you can explain.
yeah, we never know when the storm comes,
Agree.
right? But once you enter the ocean, it stabilizes and things go fine. You keep hoping that no storm comes and you don't get sunk. The answer is it depends on the platform and the solution that you're offering. So in the case of referral contest, we didn't manually build it first before automating it, right? So when we built it manually and tried it out, only then we discovered problems like fake referrals, security issues, etc. So manually, when I say manually means you built a referral system as a standalone solution for that particular event alone, right? Then fix it for the next event. So you are in a stable state. We know that, okay, now we have figured out everything. Let's make it automated. And then again you start another journey because automated solution will have problems. It will take time to get stabilized. That is one thing. It depends on the kind of problem. Where the problem is not defined. You are discovering the solution on the way. Right? Another thing is, for the platforms that you know you are going to build, don't release it prematurely. Okay? For example, when we released the Community Start program, we marked it as beta. So, we explicitly marked as beta, and then after the beta is over, we mark it as new. So, even if something goes wrong, you can always say this is beta feature. Actually, as a factor, something we don't know if it is working or not, right? And then we mark it as new, saying that okay, it is stable. and then take away the news saying that yeah, it will work, or let's hope it works. So, yeah.
So another thing is that, so gamification is great from business point of view, but the fundamental problem what I've seen, what happens is over the time you start missing the organic traffic which is coming our way.
Yes,
So people
yes.
are doing things just because they are getting some reward and then getting into it. So how do you also ensure that along with gamification the organic crowd doesn't go away, and also you also don't just focus on gamification part, but you are also making your offering better, so that that is the reason why people are coming in. So I just wanted to understand where do you draw the line.
Okay, beautiful question actually. See, by doing gamification, you should not lose the purpose. So, right? So his question is beautiful. What he said is, there's organic traffic coming. There are people who are genuinely interested, for example, in learning. There are people who are genuinely interested in, for example, participating in quiz and learning from it, right? And then there are people who are sometimes fake, sometimes who are there just for winning, right? So they are also there. So by trying to focus on the gamification aspect, how do you not lose the other ones, right? The point is we should never lose that context. The purpose should never go away from us. The primary purpose should always remain the aspect, right? Why are you building a platform? Let's say you're building a chatting platform, you're building a social media platform. The fundamental purpose should never go away. Only for amplification, you are introducing gamification. That clarity should always be there. Once the clarity is there, things always fall in place. Did I answer the question?
Quick question. We are engineers, technical people, as you mentioned. As an architect, it's not to build products to make sure that it's success as well. How you remain sane when you really started and it was not working? Being a techie, you started solving business problems, and what you will suggest other which can be done and which can benefit us?
Okay, this question is, as an architect, it is not my KPI to make the product successful, right? And as a person who tried it out, and
You mentioned that as an architect, it's our job.
yes,
That as well as technical, we should solve the business problems. And how you did it in the beginning, basically, once you are successful, it's easy. Right?
Yes.
You have team and do it. And what is your suggestion for others?
so suggestions for others to do it, right? Okay, to take a step back, I actually disagree with the statement that as an architect, we are not responsible for the business success of the product. Big no. The primary reason why we are architecting is to make the product successful, right? So we cannot disengage ourselves from business success and say that, hey, that is manager's problem.
But we are architecting to
Yes.
solve a problem. But we can't propose it as a solution, saying this is what I think the approach should come from the business.
Okay. So what he is sharing is, as an architect, my responsibility is to solve that technical problem or the product development, and not to, take the initiative or propose to the management saying that bring in gamification. Come on, yeah. See, as an architect, I have stake in my product. I want it to be successful. I will push it whatever it takes to make it successful. Be it, proposing to management or leadership. If it means building gamification, you will do it. So, sorry for the disagreement. Yeah. So, what do you suggest for the ones who are trying to build gamification in a product, right? First, take that mindset out, saying that business success is not my problem, right? As an architect, the reason why you survive or thrive is not because of technical skills. Think about it. Think about it. Do you survive and excel as an architect because of your technical skills? Come on, yeah, it doesn't work that way. You have one of the key skills is business excellence. Right? You should have the business acumen. If you don't have them, build it. Business skills, communication skills, team management skills. All this is key for an architect. Technical skills, by the way, is also important. So, did I answer? So, that answers the question. So, when you are new, nobody starts everything knowing everything. Right? I am not a business person, but now I am successfully running 2 startups with my co-founder, right? We are growing fast. We just crossed 50 people now. With successful clients like AWS, Microsoft, JetBrains, whatnot, right? We didn't know how to run business, but figure it on the way. So that's what I'm suggesting as an architect. We don't know everything. How do I design for my game day? Figure it out.
I have a question. So we have a known challenges. One is like we can lose organic crowd, we can lose focus from the base product. So instead of designing this gamification strategy ourselves, we want to suggest some open apps or websites we can do it for you. Because I see one major risk is we collect user info or the participant info. If somebody breaks it and or hacks it, then all the blame will come to us. So one solution is we can simply take a mobile number and email ID, but you also want to protect the fake users. So instead of doing all this ourselves, should we go ahead with say Kahoot or QSub that people are suggesting? So like this, do you want to suggest some open, or you want to suggest it to build yourself for your publicity?
Publicity sake. Come on, I disagree with that.
I mean, your products publicity.
No, sorry. Okay. So your question is, can I reuse some things for gamification or any of the infrastructure solutions than building it from scratch?
Saving time and maybe it takes a little
Yes.
amount.
Yeah. So you can use services, for example. You can use services for DOS attacks. There are services for that. There are services, which is used for authentication and authorization, and
SMS.
many of these, backend as a service is also available. You can use entire backend as a service and use it.
SMS related services.
SMS related services, for example, or WhatsApp related services. All of this you can use.
Just as what I've seen is a faster to market they go for these services.
Yeah.
Once they know that they have made a mark, right, then they start to do a homegrown solution so that they can reduce the cost. That is one business thought I've seen.
Yeah. So, but I think maybe we haven't explored, to be very honest. Or maybe gamification is still in a, relatively nascent phase for software products. I haven't seen many products, which can be plugged in seamlessly. See, I mean, any of the solution that you build should not be something like, force-fitted. Should not look like force-fitted. It should be like natural, right? So there are two ways of doing it. One is the end-user components that you have that could be, purchased and used. How about the time?
It's okay, 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes, okay. So, those components we haven't come across much, to be very open. But there are a lot of services in cloud which you can consume, which will simplify your work.
Like one example is SurveyMonkey. In order to collect feedback, people use it very often, and I don't say pay for it, or I don't think so. Like that, there should be something for gamification also. If not, like maybe it's
I'm sorry, I did not know. So his question is, are there any ready-made tools for gamification? The answer is I don't know. I haven't explored it much.
Some of it is on your website also, right? Confirm also does gamification for other companies.
Yeah, we also do gamification for other companies. Yeah, thank you.
So that is the answer.
Yeah, you can consume services of others. For example, for GDPR, now we are GDPR, what called certification. It's not really an accreditation, but compliant basically. So we got help from another company, and when I say help means we engage another company to get this compliance. So like that, you can also engage another company who specializes in gamification and get it done.
So gamification as saturation, right? How you will handle it? Let's say I can refer one time now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's fast 7%. Yeah, there will be some saturation point.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How you guys handle that?
Okay, so his question is how do you so when you refer someone, there's a limit to how many people you can refer, right? So there's a saturation point to that. Make it as a ripple effect. So when you refer him, he refers. So when you refer 10 people, he refers 10 people, and that person refers 10 people. So in that case, it doesn't get saturated.
It will go for one game. Let's say one quiz, next quiz. After 10 quizzes, it will be like this is quiz, right? I know it will.
But there are always people, as he mentioned, top over and all that network marketing still thrives.
It's a very valid question. Maybe I don't have an answer for that.
Because
how do you survive this
PUBG game, every season one game will be there.
We'll take last question.
I wanted to touch one thing about games. There is one thing that you didn't mention, but we love in games, like narrative, novelty. Can you maybe explain or say, did you touch this side of things? making the experience maybe novel every time, or adding some narrative about some, I don't know, fake virtual world into your, I don't know, classes and things like that.
So your question is, did we do anything really novel?
Yeah. I mean novel about narrative of the game. So, for instance, in game we are superheroes. So
Some story.
yeah, adding some story, like Mario trying to save the princess. So we are interested in stories that's going on the video game, for instance.
Yeah, like instead of saying you are the top winner, like you get to kill Ravan or something. Some kind of story.
Yeah.
Some kind of story.
Yeah, that's a good one actually. Maybe we should try implement. Yeah, we haven't done that actually. I would say. I mean, most of it is already there, like badges, points, leaderboards, rewards. Yeah, that's a very good point. We should do something.
Something with like something with movies. When RR release, you can have like
create a blog and
Okay, so doing something extremely creative, right? So I will answer that actually. Once we tried, creating avatars online and share it in social media. Unfortunately, except our team, nobody will share. So the problem with novelty is that the possibility of failure is extremely high.
Yeah.
That is one drawback about novelty. Yeah, but I think that is something you should still try, I would say.
Use it also less. You can use one idea once maybe.
Yeah. Very true.
It is just like selecting a category of particular user, like he is interested in what, and then depending on how many times he played a game. Let's say I played a game for 10 times or 20 times or something. Depending on that, how many times I succeeded, so that keep a blog ready or something, just like Ravana or something somewhere. So and then recommend him to read those things and something like that.
So that's a wonderful idea. I think I should get a chocolate. Very good too. Very unfair, yeah. Gamification. Hey, thanks so much, team. I mean, I really enjoyed this session. Very interactive one, and I hope one of the key learnings is, as an architect, business success is also our responsibility. Sure.